1, 2, 1, 2. Jordan Sheridan, live. Let's go live here. Public. Okay, I believe we are live. I believe we are live on Twitter. I believe we are live on Twitch. I believe we are live on YouTube. Let's see. Okay, let me know if you can hear me. Let me know if you can see me. Post to Rockfin. Rockfin. Someone's and text. All right, Jordan Sheridan live. Let me know if you could hear me. Let me know if you could see me right here in the United Corporations of America, right after President Biden's first press conference. Hope everybody's having an okay day. I will wait until we see a couple more viewers and comments. Yes, hello, can hear, good, wonderful. I'm going to ask the viewers if they notice anything new on our wonderful set here. Any interesting aesthetics behind me, because boy, am I excited about something that we've been able to add here to the brand new set, which, by the way, we're not done with. We're going to be working on making the set even more swanky. So let me know if you could see what I'm talking about behind me, courtesy of a Status Coup, a wonderful, wonderful Status Coup viewer, Vicky Blair. Periscope alerted me, and then YouTube a minute later. Wow, an award? I don't know if we're winning any awards. The media, corporate media, doesn't seem to like the work we do. I'm live a little bit earlier today. I have a call for the new, we're planning a new website, so we have a call in about an hour or so. So wanted to come live to react to President Biden's first press conference, if you could call it a press conference. If we have a press anymore in this country. To me, that was a sleepy tennis match between a clearly not all there president and a press continuing to do the bare minimum. So press that like button. We got almost 100 people watching. Did we send out the text message yet? Okay, I think the text message went out that we're live. Share this live stream, smash that like button right under the video so more people get this. YouTube has been, shall we say, burying this channel, and from what it seems, other channels too. So we really need your help. Please, please press that like button. Please, please share this live stream. Sharing is caring. Very, very important. Mr. Methuselah, $10 in the super chat. Thank you so much. Keep those super chats coming too, because I will read them at the end of the live stream. So Biden does his first press conference. I didn't know what even to put in the headline, because to me it was such a train wreck. First off, the media, as usual, was terrible. So we'll talk about what should have been asked. Biden, frankly, I'm just being honest, because it would be dishonest to kind of pretend and not discuss the elephant in the room. He doesn't look well when he speaks. Does anyone else notice this? I know this is kind of like not supposed to be talked about among journalists, but he just doesn't look well. When I say well, I don't mean like physically. I mean mentally. He just talks extremely slowly. It's clear that he has issues kind of responding sharply to questions. And I know, we all know what they say. Oh, it's the stutter and this, that, the other thing. I don't know, because when he was the senator and when he was the vice president, we weren't seeing this type of sluggish presentation. So we'll talk about that for sure. We'll talk about the questions. As you said, no questions about Amazon, No questions about, hey, any comment on the fact that Flint, Michigan and others have had no clean water for many, many years in America? His answer on Afghanistan was pathetic. There was less than I was expecting on the now increase of mass shootings. So we're going to get into all of it, definitely. 1 second. Text. So, smash that like button for sure and keep those super chats coming in. Also want to tell you guys, if you don't know, we are being really suppressed lately by YouTube. I know that other channels have pointed out pretty much every channel is being really affected. But I will tell you not to, try and poo-poo what other channels are going through. Hold on 1 second. We are being suppressed pretty much that I have seen worse than anyone. I mean, I'll just show you. Here. Look at these numbers. We are down, if you could see, 133%. 133%. In the last 30 days. We've lost over 1,000 subscribers suddenly out of nowhere. And we're down 133% in subscribers. Viewers were down almost 70%. Did people suddenly just stop caring about independent, in the field, investigative journalism? Or maybe they're not actually seeing our content. I'm going to go with that. So we'll talk about that a little bit later. But I wanted to start with what I thought was the top. I wanted to start with what I thought was the top part of this whole press conference. There was a lot of bad answers from Biden and, frankly, sleepy moments. But to me, this is the most newsworthy thing that he said, which is, frankly, kind of, sort of, just openly condoning racism. Let's take a listen to what he said when asked about the filibuster and whether he thought he agreed with President Obama on the filibuster basically being a vessel of racism and Jim Crow.
Filibuster. With regard to the filibuster, I believe we should go back to a position of the filibuster that existed just when I came to the United States Senate 120 years ago. And that is that it used to be required for the filibuster, and I had a card on this. I was going to give you the statistics, but you probably know them. That it used to be that from between 1917 and 1971, the filibuster existed. There were a total of 58 motions to break a filibuster. With regard to that whole filibuster, I believe last year alone, go back to a position there were 5 times that many. I came to the United States Senate 120 so it's being abused in a gigantic way. And that is that, and for example, it used to be you had to stand there and talk until you collapsed. And guess what? People got tired of talking and tired of collapsing. Filibusters broke down, and we were able to break the filibuster, get a quorum, and vote.
Sorry, I gave you the wrong clip. Let me give you the right clip. Here is President Biden on the filibuster. He's asked about whether he thinks it's a relic of Jim Crow and what he says.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I have a question for you, but first, I'd like to follow up on a question from Yamiche, and that's on the filibuster.
That counts as a question, but go ahead.
Okay, I'll make it quick. It's a quick question. You can. Regarding the filibuster, at John Lewis's funeral, President Barack Obama said he believed the filibuster was a relic of the Jim Crow era. Do you agree?
Yes.
If not, why not abolish it if it's a relic of the Jim Crow era?
Successful electoral politics is the art of the possible. Let's figure out how we can get this done and move in the direction of significantly changing the abuse of even the filibuster rule first. It's been abused from the time it came into being by an extreme way in the last 20 years. Let's deal with the abuse first.
It sounds like you're moving closer to eliminating the filibuster. Is that correct?
I answered your question.
Wow. Oh my God. Can you imagine for a second if that was Donald Trump up there? And when asked if this was a relic of Jim Crow, he had that long pause. Oh, how do I answer without revealing I'm a racist? How do I answer? First of all, and by the way, I mean, I don't do this often. Credit to that CNN reporter. An actual question, an actual good question from a corporate journalist. And remember, folks, smash that like button. We got almost 300 people watching. 140 of you have pressed that like button. I need every single person to press that like button. Please, please press that like button. So first of all, the president answers very directly, yes, I think the filibuster is racist. I think it is basic what Obama said, a tool. Essentially, the filibuster originally, with political history, was used by the southern states to block northern states who were trying to, pass civil rights legislation. So the filibuster was used by southern states that didn't want that. So first of all, he answers very succinctly, yes, I think it's racist. That's what Jim Crow is, racist. But when she does follow-up, why not abolish it? Oh, my Lord. You could run a marathon in the silence, the amount of time he took to answer that question. Very simple. If you're saying it's racist, why not abolish it? Then he comes out with some poll-tested 1995 Democratic Leadership Council mumbo-jumbo word salad that politics is the art of the possible. Politics is the art of the possible. Let's figure out how to get something done. No direct answer to why not abolish this racist thing that you just admitted was racist. And some vague answer on, I'm not going to answer whether I'm for abolishing it per se. I'm going to just tell you politics is the art of the possible. Ladies and gentlemen, I mean, he admitted right there, that it's racist. Yes, I agree with President Obama. This is a racist legislative tool, but I ain't gonna answer whether we're gonna abolish it. And I'm gonna give you some bullshit, excuse my French, swear jar, just got demonetized. I'm just gonna give you some nonsense answer on not really answering whether we're going to try to abolish it, but give you some like West Wing, that TV show West Wing that all the neoliberals love. West Wing twisted word salad about politics is the art of the possible. Politics is the art of the possible. Yeah. Politics is the art of the possible. Politics is the art of the bullshit artists and people like Joe Biden, who, frankly, the media kind of didn't cover this part, who palled around with Strom Thurmond and other segregationists and racists in the 1970s to stop progress and to stop things like busing black children into schools and trying to integrate schools. That's what that was about. So I don't know, man. I think it's a pretty newsworthy thing, which I'm not, I'm live, so I'm not really watching whatever CNN's and MSNBC's response to this is. I'm sure it's adoring and slobbering. But can you imagine for a second if Trump or any Republican was at a press conference speaking to the press and the press got Trump to say, yeah, I think it is racist, because that's what Jim Crow is. It's racism. And then when asked, okay, then why don't you get rid of it? They pause for a very deep thought. I mean, I counted at least 6-7 second pause there. And then give you some total nonsense, vague, poll-tested, West Wing sanitized nonsense. What Joe Biden just said there Yeah, it's racist, but we're not going to get rid of it. That's what he just said. How do you feel? And I'm not trying to be the white guy talking to black voters, but how do you feel, voters in Atlanta and Detroit and Milwaukee and all of these black neighborhoods that came out in very significant numbers? That's why Biden's president. It's not the Republicans that voted for him. Trump got 93% of Republicans. So all that like never Trump Republican nonsense, that didn't happen. Trump got the overwhelming majority of Republican voters. It was African Americans in those cities, Atlanta, Milwaukee, Detroit, and a couple other cities. How do you feel about him basically telling you, yeah, I mean, it is racist, but politics is the art of the possible? Jesus. Jesus. That is painful. And of course, the media is not going to actually like press him on, wait a minute, you just admitted it's racist, so why is there any hesitation here, President Biden? Pathetic. And smash that like button. We got 430 people watching, but only 260 likes. Folks, I'm just going to keep it real. We are being destroyed by YouTube right now. This channel is being destroyed. If you came to this late, look at the numbers. I don't want to get too off topic. We are down 133%. No, that's not a typo. We are down 133% in subscribers in the last 30 days. In January, we grew over 7,000 subscribers. Look at the last 30 days. We've suddenly, out of nowhere, for no reason that I could think of, lost 1,000 subscribers. When you go over to views, we're down almost 68% in 30 days. Now, I know that there's been discussions among progressive media channels. Kyle Kalinske just did a great video. Jackson Hinkle, I think is his name, compiled data. And everybody's, the election's over, so maybe people are less interested in politics. Yes, that would kind of make sense if you got, you would expect kind of like a 15, 20%, maybe 25% drop in terms of views, subscribers after an election or after an insurrection. When you see 133%, yeah, that is beyond YouTube suppression. That is YouTube literally burying content. I can't tell you how many viewers I have messaging me. I see it in the comments saying, Jordan, I don't see when you're live. Jordan, I don't see your videos. And I'm a subscriber. And I've clicked the bell for all notifications. Jordan, I literally have to type in Status Coup to find your channel in the YouTube search. So I'm begging you folks, please, always press that like button. Make sure, I think YouTube's screwing with it anyway. Make sure when you click the bell under subscribe and make sure you've clicked all notifications. Please comment on the videos. Please share the live streams. And most importantly, if you can, because we got to make up for this revenue loss or we're going to have to cut back. I mean, that's just the truth. If we can't earn money, we're going to have to cut back. Please, if you got a couple bucks, sign up as a Status Coup member for as low as $5 a month. And I'm calling on everybody. I hope YouTube hosts, both on the left, and even if we got to unite with some on the right at this point, start coming together and start screaming about what YouTube is doing, because this is rigging the algorithm, or more simply put, rigging the information airwaves. YouTube, owned by Google, Twitter, all of them, Facebook too, have literally rigged the information system to stuff your feeds with corporate mainstream channels and bury alternative voices. That is un-American, and no, I don't want to hear YouTube's a private platform. You cannot, if YouTube wants to be a platform, they say they're a platform, not a publisher, because they don't want to be regulated. So they make clear, we're not a publisher, we're a platform. Well, when you elevate certain channels, which they've been open about, and bury other channels, you are making decisions that publishers make. Those are editorial decisions to rank higher and stuff your feed with Wolf Blitzer and Rachel Maddow and the Washington Post and all of these corporate channels that nobody goes to YouTube to watch. And when you choose then to bury Kyle Kalinske, Jimmy Dore, Art Status Coup, Brianna Joy Gray, Lee Camp, Jamarl Thomas, Graham Elwood, I mean, the list goes on. You're making an editorial choice, and you need to be regulated. I digress. Let's get back to this. I want to show another clip. Biden asked about the filibuster, particularly.
Filibuster. Filibuster. With regard to the filibuster, I believe we should go back to a position of the filibuster that existed just when I came to the United States Senate 120 years ago. And that is that it used to be required for the filibuster, and I had a card on this. I was going to give you the statistics, but you probably know them, that it used to be that from between 1917 and 1971, the filibuster existed. There were a total of 58 motions to break a filibuster that whole time. Last year alone, there were 5 times that many. So it's being abused in a gigantic way. And for example, it used to be you had to stand there and talk and talk and talk and talk until you collapsed. And guess what? People got tired of talking and tired of collapsing. Filibusters broke down and we were able to break the filibuster, get a quorum and vote. So I strongly support moving in that direction, in addition to having an open mind about dealing with certain things that are just elemental to the functioning of our democracy, like the right to vote, like the basic right to vote. We've amended the filibuster in the past. But here's the deal. As you observed, I'm a fairly practical guy. I want to get things done. I want to get them done consistent with what we promised the American people. And in order to do that, in a 50-50 Senate, we've got to get to the place where I get 50 votes so that the Vice President of the United States can break the tie, or I get 51 votes without her. And so I'm going to say something outrageous. I have never been particularly poor at calculating how to get things done in the United States Senate. So the best way to get something done, if it holds near and dear to you that you like to be able to, anyway, we're going to get a lot done. And if we have to, if there's complete lockdown and chaos as a consequence of the filibuster, then we'll have to go beyond what I'm talking about.
Okay, so let's just make something clear here. And remember, smash that like button. We got 535 people watching, but only 398 of you have pressed that like button. Please, please smash that like button and keep those super chats coming. I'm going to read them at the end of the live stream. So let's just make something clear, because the media is not going to talk about this. The filibuster doesn't matter. What I mean by that is, yes, it's racist and they should get rid of it. But even if they got rid of the filibuster tomorrow, and I wish somebody in the media would have asked them this, even if they got rid of the filibuster tomorrow, what does it matter? The problem isn't, the overwhelming problem isn't the filibuster. The overwhelming problem is we have United States representatives in the House and the Senate who are bought off by corporations and big, big wealthy fuckers. That's the problem. When you have, the Democratic Party over the recent days, nobody questions this or nobody points this out. Democratic Party, when there's a mass shooting, loves to talk about 90% of Americans want background checks, but we can't do it. 90%, 90%, 90%. And they're absolutely right. Okay, let's reduce that by 20. When 70% of Americans want Medicare for all, oh, well, I don't know. Might be too extreme. I don't know. Might be too much. I don't know. How are we going to pay for it? So 90%, we have a moral imperative to act. 90%, we have a moral imperative to act. 70%, well, I don't know. My donors don't want it. $15 minimum wage, overwhelming support, including majorities of Republicans. 90% want background checks. We have a moral imperative. 90% want background checks. However, I don't know the numbers, but the overwhelming majority want a minimum wage. Sorry. Senate parliamentarian. Let's just get, this first deal through, and then we'll focus on the minimum wage. The problem is not the filibuster. The problem is we don't live in a country. We live in the United Corporations of America. Let me repeat. We live in the United Corporations of America. So even if Biden got some courage, which he don't have it, and said, you want to know something? We are going to abolish the filibuster. It is a relic of Jim Crow, which he admitted before saying, I'm not going to get rid of it. What are you going to do? You got Joe Manchin, who's a corrupt, basically a Republican. The media keeps saying, well, you know, somebody more liberal can't win in West Virginia. Absolutely somebody more liberal could win in West Virginia if they ran a progressive populist campaign. If you ran a progressive populist campaign and did strong organizing and had a smart media campaign, you could absolutely compete to win in West Virginia. Don't let the media gaslight you that only Joe Manchin can win in West Virginia. Not true. But putting that aside, what are you going to do? Joe Manchin, he's bought off. Jean Shaheen from New Hampshire just said, no, I don't know. I'm not for getting rid of the filibuster. She voted against the $15 minimum wage. You got Chris Coons and Tom Carper in Delaware, Biden's backyard. They voted against the minimum wage. So honestly, I don't want to minimize it because I completely understand, particularly black people who say, get rid of the filibuster. It is racist. We absolutely should get rid of the filibuster. I don't want people to think I'm poo-pooing getting rid of the filibuster. But that's just step one. Step two is we don't live in a democracy. So even if you get rid of it, Biden himself said, well, we don't have necessarily 50 votes in the Senate for all these things. And why don't you? That is the question that the mainstream media will not ask. Senator Manchin, Senator Coons, Senator Carper, Senator Shaheen, Senator Sinema, I forget the rest, that voted against the minimum wage increase. Why? Why are you voting against the interests of your own states? Minimum wage increase, popular in West Virginia, overwhelmingly popular in Arizona. Crystal Ball and Sagar just did a segment how Sinema's poll numbers went down in Arizona because of her, thumbs up shenanigans on the filibuster. So you're telling me that we're talking about the filibuster here, but nobody's asking, what about these corrupt politicians that are literally blocking their own constituents' wishes? Isn't representative democracy about the popular will? Isn't representative democracy about actually getting elected based on promises you make and then listening to the people that represented you? Apparently, the Democratic Party wants to talk the talk and virtue signal over 90% of Americans want background checks when it's a cultural issue. Because the bottom line is, obviously, gun control is a safety issue and I think a moral issue, but it's more of one of those cultural issues. It's not an economic issue. So that's why they are very, very, very quick to jump on, look at the polls when it comes to cultural issues, because their donors don't mind them doing that. Their donors do not mind the Democrats being strong on gun control because it doesn't affect their pockets. It does not affect the banks' pockets, the fossil fuckers, big pharma, big real estate, Silicon Valley, if Democrats are strong on guns. It does affect them if you start looking at the polls on Medicare for all, on a $15 minimum wage, on actual economic issues. No. We can't look at the polls. Don't worry about popular sentiment. Doesn't really matter. By the way, if you came to this late, I just want to give a shout out. Look behind me. Beautiful, beautiful Status Coup viewer art that was sent to us by Vicky Blair. Thank you, Vicky. Amazing art. I'm proud to have it behind us. If there's other wonderful artists out there who want to send stuff, hey, maybe we'll have a little rotation behind me of Status Coup viewer art. Doesn't necessarily have to be our logo, whatever you want that you think symbolizes what we're about. Love it. And thank you so much, Vicky. So sweet and so beautiful. I mean, I could not have done that. So really appreciate that beautiful artwork you did that's behind us. So I'm just, let's just cut the crap. The media, they're going to react to his press conference all night in primetime tonight. They're going to make it like the filibuster is the issue. Frankly, the filibuster is not the issue. The filibuster is not the issue. It's a issue. And I agree with Obama. I agree with Biden. It is racist. It should be abolished. but let's not let them deflect and distract that this is the underlying issue in our democracy. And if we just get rid of the filibuster, all of a sudden, like manna from the heavens, progress will come. That's a bunch of bullshit. Keep pressing that like button. Keep sharing. Keep those super chats coming. Really, really appreciate it. I want to play another clip that I thought was pretty interesting. Here we go.
Americans on issues like immigration reform, gun control, voting rights, climate change. All of those right now are facing stiff, united opposition from Republicans on Capitol Hill. How far are you willing to go to achieve those promises that you made to the American people?
Well, I'm good. Look, when I took office, I decided that it was a fairly basic, simple proposition, and that is I got elected to solve problems. And the most urgent problem facing the American people, I stated from the outset, was COVID-19 and the economic dislocation for millions and millions of Americans. And so that's why I put all my focus in the beginning. There are a lot of problems, but all my focus on dealing with those particular problems. And the other problems we're talking about, from immigration to guns and the other things you mentioned, are long-term problems. They've been around a long time. And what we're going to be able to do, God willing, is now begin one at a time to focus on those as well. And whether it's immigration or guns or a number of other problems that face the country. But the fundamental problem is getting people some peace of mind so they can go to bed at night and not stare at the ceiling wondering whether they lost their health insurance, whether they're going to lose a family member, whether they're going to be in a position where they're going to lose their home because they can't pay their mortgage, or the millions of people are going to get thrown out of their homes because of the inability to pay their rent. So we're going to move on these one at a time, try to do as many simultaneously as we can, but that's the reason why I focused as I have. And here's the deal. I think my Republican colleagues are going to have to determine whether or not we want to work together, or they'll decide that the way in which they want to proceed is to just decide to divide the country, continue the politics of division. But I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to move forward and take these things as they come.
And just to follow up, Mr. President, can your presidency be a success if you can't make progress on those four challenges: climate change, immigration reform, gun control, voting rights?
Well, I plan on making progress on all of them, but that's going to be for the American people to decide. I think, I doubt whether, maybe you did, maybe others did. I thought, many of you thought there was no possibility.
So I don't need to read that I don't need to listen to that whole thing. So there's a few key things in there. Peace of mind. Mr. Biden, President Biden says, I was elected to solve problems. No, you were elected because you were the last guy standing to get rid of this maniac. There was nothing, you weren't elected for anything about you particularly. You only ran on one promise, $15 minimum wage, which you've already moonwalked away from. So when he says we need to give peace of mind so people don't lose their health insurance, so people don't get evicted or foreclosed on. Yeah, I agree. The only problem is you, Mr. President, stand against all those things. And you haven't done a damn thing to give anybody peace of mind, temporarily or permanently, that they won't lose their health insurance, that they won't be evicted, and they won't be foreclosed. Let's go down the list. This is a man who has said, if Medicare for All, which has 70% popularity, let me repeat, 70% popularity. This is a man that says, we're not going to, if it comes to me, I'm going to veto it. In the COVID relief bill that, the media has been spinning as, oh, Biden's the new FDR. Oh, this is like the New Deal. There's nothing about what happens when the music stops. What happens when the crisis is over? What happens when the pandemic is over? You got something for these people that owe $10,000 to $20,000 in rent? are behind 10, 20, maybe more, $1,000 on their mortgage. Your buddy, President Obama, he let the banks run wild on these people in 2009, 10, and 11. Foreclosures as far as the eye could see, Obama allowed, because he was bought off by the banks. Mr. Hope and Change took more money than anybody at that point from the banks. Well, Biden, if you noticed, in his CNN town hall, he used the phrase, our bill gives temporary eviction relief, temporary foreclosure relief. Well, you know, the New Deal wasn't temporary. Well, it was temporary because, you know, the right wing and the right wing Democrats started taking a machete to it. The New Deal had permanent change, permanent programs, permanent structural programs. This COVID relief bill, you know, to his credit, the child tax credit, good. Some other things are good. It's all temporary. So what he's saying about giving peace of mind, how does anyone have peace of mind that in your COVID relief bill, you gave, I think it was like $60 billion or something ridiculous to Cobra, the biggest for-profit healthcare scam on planet Earth? You know about Cobra. If you get fired, you could pay like $600 a month or something obscene just to keep your employer, just to keep your insurance from your previous employer. You got to pay $600 a month plus the normal deductibles, plus the normal copay. Nobody could afford that if you've lost your job. That's what they did in this COVID relief bill. Instead of expanding Medicare or even expanding Medicaid, they increased subsidies to Cobra, i.e., gave more money to their private healthcare donors and sold it as relief to you. Talking about gaslighting. And keep pressing that like button, keep sharing. Holy cow, I'm sorry to interrupt, but this is worth an interruption. We just got unbelievable $1,000 donation. Oh my God. $1,000 GoFundMe donation from Peter Iannone. Peter, I think from what I remember, you've donated in the past. I truly cannot thank you enough. You do not know how much this helps right now. For those of you that came to this late, we have been strangled to death by YouTube the last 2 months. Our revenue is almost as bad as it was when we started this channel 3 years ago. Our views are significantly down. Our subscriber growth, we're down 133%. Literally 133%. We are down in subscribers over the last 30 days. That ain't possible unless you're being buried by an algorithm. People didn't suddenly stop being interested in news coverage. People didn't suddenly stop being interested in the field journalism. Best example, John Farina, our freelance cameraman, was out covering the 1-year anniversary of Breonna Taylor's murder. Still no justice. You know, we didn't get more than 150 live viewers on the 1-year anniversary while protesters took a New York City highway, blocked a New York City highway. We couldn't get past 150 live viewers. That ain't possible for a channel with 108,000 subscribers. They are burying us algorithmically and many other channels. But I think, as far as I know, we've taken it worse than anybody, including Secular Talk, Jimmy Dore, Brianna Joy Gray, Lee Camp, all of them. Nobody has been hit as hard as us. Does it have anything to do with the fact that I've publicly criticized YouTube? We're actually looking into data, looking at the dates where I've publicly condemned YouTube on Twitter, and then they reacted by throttling us further. We're also down nearly 70% in views. So I'm not looking for a pity party. I'm just telling you straight up, we're going to have to make cuts, unfortunately, if we can't fill in the gaps elsewhere. We do not take money from corporations. We do not take monies from the fossil fuckers, big banks, Wall Street, Silicon Valley, big pharma, big real estate, the defense contractors. We don't take any of that money, and we're never going to. So Peter, honestly, I'll personally thank you after this. Thank you so much. It is so appreciated and honestly desperately needed. And don't stop at Peter. If you got any amount, please drop it in the GoFundMe. Thank you also, Leslie, $100 a couple minutes ago. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We're now at $142,698 raised. As I always like to tell everybody, that's not money we have currently in the bank. If it is, we'd be in a much better position. That's what we have cumulatively raised over 3 years via GoFundMe, which we've used in real time as we go and report in the field, buy new equipment, expand using more freelancers. The money you have donated, we have been spending in real time transparently. What you donate is what you see. You see it. Also, for those that can, please, our core business model is membership. So if you can, sign up, $5 a month, statuscoup.com/join. $5 a month, you get bonus content. I just posted a members video yesterday. You get to join our monthly members call, which is a lot of fun through Zoom. You get access to our Discord for members. So a lot of perks as a member. Thank you again, Peter. Really, really appreciate it. Keep those super chats coming also, because I'll read them at the end. So the bottom line is, this guy's full of shit. The 1.9 coronavirus stimulus, I don't want to totally crap on it because there are some good things in it. But it's a Band-Aid for an economic gunshot wound. We saw after the 2008 financial crash, these companies, they didn't hire back everybody when times were better. They just squeezed more juice out of the orange. They squeezed more. They just made workers do more with less. And we're going to start seeing that. By the way, the last time I checked, I think the last jobs report, there was still 40% of the jobs that were lost in March and April have not returned. Let me repeat. 40% of the jobs that were lost in March and April in 2020 have not returned. So Biden could spin it all he wants that help is on the way, which is another clip he said. Is help on the way? They keep saying poverty has been cut in half. Yeah? How so? Temporarily it's been cut in half? So what happens when the pandemic is over? The poverty just goes back by 50% by these temporary measures? How about a journalist ask, why do we have so much poverty in this country, Mr. President, that it has to be cut in half? Why has all the wealth in this country shot up? Look at that. Productivity, 240% increase. Hourly compensation, pretty much flat. So why are we in such bad shape? Why is it that if a pandemic or some unexpected disaster comes, millions of people lose their job, millions of people lose their health care? Because, key word, he said, we want to give peace of mind. Well, there is no way for anybody in America to have peace of mind that they are going to be protected, that if they get sick or they have an unexpected health problem, that they are not going to go bankrupt because you, Mr. President, believe it is moral and it is right and it is just that people basically need to be employed to see a doctor, that people need to be employed to avoid bankruptcy from a medical disaster. That's your belief. That's your philosophy. That's what you ran on. And by the way, you ran against public sentiment because in the Democratic primary, if you remember, every single state, including Mississippi, by the way, the majority of voters in the Democratic primary favored Medicare for all. He's against it because his donors won't allow it. That's the truth. He's against it because his donors will not allow it. If you remember, this is what Biden told his donors behind closed doors. Corporate America has to change its ways. It's not going to require legislation because I ain't proposing any. We've got to think about how we deal people back in. So this statement right here, which he told people behind closed doors during the campaign, is a lot of what you saw in this press conference. It's all vagueness, West Wing, neoliberal, vague, empty platitudes. He literally admitted, yeah, the Jim Crow, the filibuster is racist. Oh, you're going to abolish it? Well, politics is, the art of the possible, I'll get back to you on that. I mean, Jesus Christ. I want to move on to another clip. And by the way, Jen cut these clips, so thank you to Jen for cutting these clips for us. Next time, I think we'll try to be live and react in real time. I don't know. Anybody else remember that, we've been in Afghanistan for 20 years? No, literally 20 years we've been in Afghanistan. Let's see. Did President Biden give a clear answer? Are we getting out of Afghanistan? What do you think?
Ken.
Thank you, Mr. President. I wanted to ask you about Afghanistan. You face a May 1st deadline for the withdrawal of U.S. troops from that country. As a candidate in foreign affairs, you wrote that it is past time to end these forever wars. Can you commit to the American people that by May 2nd, the U.S. will no longer have forces in Afghanistan?
The answer is that it's going to be hard to meet the May 1 deadline. Just in terms of tactical reasons, it's hard to get those troops out. So what we've been doing, what I've been doing, and what Secretary Blinken has been doing has been, we've been meeting with our allies, those other nations that have NATO allies who have troops in Afghanistan as well. And if we leave, we're going to do so in a safe and orderly way. We're in consultation, I say, with our allies and partners and how to proceed. And Secretary Blinken is meeting in Brussels this week with our NATO allies, particularly those who have forces there. And General Austin is just met with Kayani, and I'm waiting for the briefing on that. He is the leader, quote, in Afghanistan and Kabul. And there's a UN-led process that's beginning shortly on how to mechanically get people, how to end this war. But it is not my intention to stay there for a long time. But the question is, how and in what circumstances do we meet that agreement that was made by President Trump to leave under a deal that looks like it's not being able to be worked out to begin with? How's that done? But we are not staying a long time.
You just said if we leave. Do you think it's possible that
we will leave? The question is when we leave.
Do you believe, though, it's possible we could have troops there next year?
I can't picture that being the case.
It's not my intention for us to stay there for a long time. Tactically, we can't get out by May 1st because we haven't had long enough, 20 years. We just haven't had long enough to get out. Can you believe this? And by the way, to be fair to Biden, we got to be fair. This is Bush. This is Obama. This is Trump. Now it's Biden. But tactically, we can't leave by May 1st. Why? Why couldn't we have left last year or the year before? This is a bunch of bullshit. It's always been a bunch of bullshit. There's no reason that we can't leave. I don't even think they're pretending to give a reason why we're still there. If it's rare, but credit to the Washington Post. They did a story, I think it was last year, deep dive investigation. They got evidence and they got documents that showed literally we've been in Afghanistan for 20 years. Generals don't even think it's winnable. They don't even know why we're there. The Washington Post revealed that literally it was coming down from the top in Washington. 2 generals spend $3 million a day. What for? It doesn't matter. Just spend it. We don't have money for healthcare in this country. We don't have money for pre-K. We don't have money for environmental programs. We don't have money for childhood nutrition. We don't have money for fill in the blanks, $15 minimum wage, you name it. But we have $3 million a day to give to Afghanistan. I'm sorry. I understand Afghanistan's a poor country. I understand all these countries are poor countries. But how about our poor country? I mean, this is beyond gaslighting. This is literally lying. Make no mistake. His answer is very basically telling you, yeah, no, we're not getting out of Afghanistan. Status quo, same old, same old. That's what that answer is. We're not getting out of Afghanistan. So, I mean, at a certain point, anyone in the press is going to ask, why are we still in Afghanistan? By the way, what the AUMF authorization for military force hasn't it kind of run out? The purpose was let's get bin Laden. That was 11 years ago. This is insanity. He's This answer ain't going to be covered tonight. This answer, he's not going to get any grief for staying in Afghanistan, because why would he? Raytheon's happy. Lockheed Martin's happy. Northrop Grumman, I always mispronounce it. Northrop Grumman, they're happy. Boeing, all of them. By the way, the banks are happy because the banks are heavily invested in all of these defense contractors and all of this equipment and all of these planes. Everybody's happy. While 7 years later, Flint, Michigan still doesn't have clean water. Do you know that? Because that wasn't asked in this press conference. Hey, President Biden, any thoughts on the fact that on April 25th, 2021, coming up, Flint, Michigan, 7 years has not had clean water? How about East Chicago, Indiana has a lead crisis? How about Pittsburgh, Milwaukee, Mississippi has a water crisis right now? How about there's a PFAS disaster? PFAS, cancer-causing chemicals that are found that come as a byproduct of the manufacturing of Teflon, the non-stick cookware. PFAS being found in all over the country in water bodies, causes reproductive problems among women, causes cancers. Not a question. Not a worry. We gotta stay in war. War is good for business. What did Eisenhower say, or somebody said? It's a racket. Absolutely disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. By the way, thank you. Another so generous GoFundMe donation. $100 from Kurt Eeg. Hope I'm pronouncing your last name right. $100 from Kurt Eeg. After Peter's amazing donation. Thank you. We're almost at $143,000 raised. So keep it coming if you guys can. It's really helpful. I mean, I'm just gonna keep it super honest. We've been really anxious over here because our views, our subscriber growth have plummeted. I mean, it's gotten to the point where John, our freelancer, who did that amazing footage got the amazing footage for us from the Capitol on January 6th, has done other great shows, great reporting without me. He's sending us things to go cover, and unfortunately, I'm having to tell him no, because it's like, it's just dollars and cents. I can't pay John X amount per live stream, per event, if nobody's going to see it. So it's frustrating. YouTube is literally, if it's an important enough event, we say yes. But, he's going live to like 120, 130 people. And obviously we're happy to pay him for his services. So really your revenue right now is helping us kind of stay afloat while we figure out other things. We are currently working on launching a Substack, which we're working on in the background, and a couple other things to get different revenue sources and not rely on YouTube. We also rely on other, our core business model, for those of you Status Coup OGers, is not YouTube. It's membership. But we've also taken a hit on membership, understandably, because obviously, we're in an economic crisis. So a lot of people have had to cancel, and I haven't been able to go out in the field as much as normal because of the ongoing pandemic. Typically, when I go in the field, we tend to grow more paid members because, the product we're selling is actual journalism in the field, in the trenches, that frankly, who else is doing it? So thank you. Keep those super chats coming. Keep the donations coming. I want to play, I think this will be the last clip before I get to your super chats. I want to be clear because I'll be attacked for saying this. I do think the border should be covered. I do think it's a crisis. I don't think it's as much as of a crisis as the media is talking about, but I think it is important. But do you notice how there were more questions from the mainstream journalists about the crisis at the border than what are you going to do about all these people that are facing eviction and foreclosure once the pandemic is over? I didn't hear one damn question about that. A lot of questions and concerns about the crisis at the border. Again, mostly one of these culture issues, not necessarily dollars and cents economics for working class people. Doesn't really ruffle the feathers with the donors per se. But I didn't hear a lot of questions about evictions, all temporary. All this eviction moratorium is temporary. Once the pandemic's declared over, there's zero protections on a permanent level, on a permanent basis for these people that are behind on their rent, their mortgages, and other bills through no fault of their own, through a pandemic that, frankly, Trump majorly fucked up and mismanaged and lied about. A lot of questions about the migrant crisis, not a lot of questions about the economic crisis and the basic looming eviction and foreclosure apocalypse. Let's hear what he had to say about that.
I should be flattered. People are coming because I'm the nice guy. That's the reason why it's happening. That I'm a decent man, or however it's phrased. That, that's why they're coming, because Biden's a good guy. Truth of the matter is, nothing has changed. As many people came, 28% increase in children to the border in my administration, 31% in the last year in 2019 before the pandemic in the Trump administration. It happens every single solitary year. There is a significant increase in the number of people coming to the border in the winter months of January, February, March. It happens every year. In addition to that, there is and by the way, does anybody suggest that there was a 31% increase under Trump because he was a nice guy and he was doing good things at the border? That's not the reason they're coming. The reason they're coming is that it's the time they can travel with the least likelihood of dying on the way because of the heat in the desert, number one. Number two, they're coming because of the circumstances in country. In country. The way to deal with this problem, and I started to deal with it back when I was a United States Senator, Vice President, putting together a bipartisan plan of over $700 million to do with the root causes of why people are leaving. What did Trump do? He eliminated that funding.
So, yeah, how about that? Now, I'm not going to pretend to be an expert on this particular issue because I'm not. But what I do know through American history, he talks about we need to examine why it is these people need to leave their country and why these people's countries are so messed up and blah, 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 blah. Any journalists want to mention the drug war that the United States has inflicted on most of these countries? Is that kind of persona non grata to bring up? The fact that the U.S. has caused, not solely, but the U.S. has caused a lot of economic, social corruption in these countries. Honduras, Guatemala, Belize, El Salvador. I mean, the list goes on. I don't want to pass myself off as an expert on the issue, but, it's kind of obvious. Kind of obvious. So this is like the thing for reparations. The Democrats always say, well, I think we need a committee here. I definitely think we could use a committee to study reparations. And he's saying, yeah, I think, I've put, she said later, which I'll show you that clip. I definitely think we need to, I'm going to put Vice President Kamala Harris on this to kind of figure out what's going on with these countries and why are they flooding out and what do we need to do. Just read a book, President Biden, or, a documentary or whatever. By the way, Biden has been for and voted for and pushed policies that only intensified the drug war in a lot of these countries. Also, Biden and the Democrats, with Republican help, have been very, very quick to prop up and support these brutal, corrupt leaders and dictators of a lot of these countries. But then they act surprised that they're all flooding through extreme weather, going through the desert, going through dangerous seas to try to get to this country. We are the ones damaging these countries. It's not only because of the U.S., but we certainly have poured gasoline on the fire and helped light the fire. But again, none of these journalists are actual journalists per se. They're not there to ask tough follow-ups. They're not there to actually point out badly needed context. No. That's not what this is. Definitely not. I want to play one more clip and excuse me, we didn't have it loaded, so the screen is going to get black. Because this right here, folks, I'm sorry to tell you, this is a not so subtle preview of who the neoliberal corporate Democratic Party, who are they preparing to replace Biden?
The
Which,
idea
by the way,
that I'm going to say,
keeping it real, folks. I know I'll be criticized.
which I would never do.
If you're watching this press conference, Biden said, yeah, I'm planning on running in 2024. Did you watch this press conference and think this person is going to be able to get through another campaign? Another campaign that, if all goes well, he won't be in his basement. He'll have to campaign. Does anybody watching this think? I mean, I'm not trying to be rude or crass, but as the press conference went on, it's very clear that he's struggling. He's struggling. I don't know how else to say it. I'm not a doctor. I'm not playing doctor. I'm not diagnosing him with anything, but it was clear during the campaign, and it's abundantly clear now, he's not all there. I mean, frankly, at this point, I think it's irresponsible for the journalists that don't say anything and pretend that he's sharp as a marble. So let me play you this clip because I think it was a pretty clear kind of acknowledgement of they're trying to give Harris more foreign policy bona fides. And why would you want to give a candidate or a politician more of a resume in the foreign policy arena? Let's take a look.
The idea that I'm going to say, which I would never do, if an unaccompanied child ends up at the border, we're just going to let him starve to death and stay on the other side. No previous administration did that either, except Trump. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. That's why I've asked the Vice President of the United States yesterday to be the lead person on dealing with focusing on the fundamental reasons why people leave Honduras, Guatemala, El Salvador in the first place. It's because of earthquakes, floods. It's because of lack of food. It's because of gang violence. It's because of a whole range of things.
So there you have it. I'm assigning Harris to handle the crisis in these countries. Come on. It's politics 101. The Democratic Party, before Biden ran, frankly, even dating back to when Harris ran as a senator in 2016, they've been grooming, frankly, this empty vessel to be the future. Her and little Petey. I don't want to diminish the fact I don't agree with Harris's politics. She's clearly bought off like the rest of them. I think it is a good thing and historic that we have a female vice president, a woman of color. I think those are all good things. So I think two things could be true. We don't need to like the politician. We could say she's corrupt. Look at her donors. It speaks for itself. But good thing that we are breaking these barriers, having a woman, having a person of color, one seat away from the presidency. I would be all for having a woman president. I'm for it. I just wish it was Nina Turner. I just wish it was somebody not named Kamala Harris, whose politics are terrible. She's an empty vessel. She ain't going to fight for anything for people. Hell, she's moonwalked again. She's moonwalked away from pretty much every populist progressive thing she's ever said she was for. She jumped on the bandwagon with Bernie. When Bernie introduced the Medicare for All bill, I believe in 2017, she jumped on because she was already eyeing a run for president. Then she announces her run for president. I shit you not, literally like 24, 48 hours after she announces, she says in a CNN town hall, yep, get rid of private insurance for Medicare for all. Holy cow. If only we were there as a fly on the wall to see how many phone calls she got from donors and pissed off neoliberals. Then all of a sudden, she starts peeling it back. She starts moonwalking faster than Michael Jackson. All of a sudden, oh boy, I'm not for Medicare for all per se. I'm for like a Medicare for all that will come in 10 years but not get rid of private insurance. And I can't really explain it because it's this convoluted weird fucking thing that she's put together. You remember that Medicare for All policy that she proposed that would be enacted in like 10 years? Then, before she was picked as Biden's vice president, she actually signed on to calls and a bill for $2,000 a month. Then, when she gets on Biden's ticket, quiet as a mouse. So this isn't exactly somebody who necessarily stands for anything per se. We all know Walker Bragman just did another great story about her role as Attorney General of California, basically propping up corrupt police, keeping innocent people in jail. So this is basically your card-carrying neoliberal Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton, Biden approved Democrat. And the thing that they love about Kamala Harris, and I'm just keeping it real, might get me in trouble, is her level of empty vesselness. I just created a phrase, empty vesselness. All you got to do is, racist, sexist, racist, sexist. If she becomes president, forget it. There will be zero policy discussion because every criticism, every journalistic criticism, whether it's a journalist, whether it's a commentator, whatever. Racism, you're going after the first black female president. How dare you? Doesn't matter who she takes money from. Doesn't matter how corrupt she is. Doesn't matter how many policies she abandons. Black, female, done. Can't criticize her. Doesn't even matter, frankly, if you find corruption on her. My guess is the national media wouldn't want to touch it. But make no mistake about it, Biden isn't like putting Kamala Harris in to handle these countries because like she's so wonderful at diplomacy and a crisis. He's doing it because the Democratic Party and the bosses said, hey, we got to beef up her foreign policy credentials because, she's next. Am I wrong? Am I wrong? We got to beef up her foreign policy credentials because do you see the guy speaking right now? And I want to be clear because I think, my cousin just texted and I think he's watching and some of my family are watching and, people are watching. I want to be very clear. I don't like Joe Biden. I voted for him. A lot of you hate me for it. A lot of you disagree with me. I said, listen, I actually drank whiskey before I voted for him. And I held my nose. You don't have to agree with it. I don't shame people who didn't vote for him. I don't think it's cool to shame anyone for a vote. I did it for reasons I've explained. I was out there at these Trump rallies. I was seeing that this was descending from a reality show to something much more sinister. Between the cult suicide rallies with no masks, this guy basically, cheering on racists and white supremacists. I very, very, very begrudgingly voted for him. But I never stopped criticizing him, and that's the important thing. I never sanitized my coverage of Joe Biden. I never tried to help Joe Biden get elected. I told you, this is what I'm doing personally, and here's my reasons. I didn't tell you how to vote. You vote how you vote. I didn't shame you. But the bottom line is, we knew this was what we were getting with Joe Biden. But let's be very clear. The establishment and the puppet masters, they see what you and I see. There's a reason this man took, January 20th, over 2 months to do a press conference. There's a reason that when he does publicly speak, it ain't long. And I don't say this because I'm like cheering on him having any cognitive issues or any health problems. I don't wish that upon him just because I don't agree with his policies and I think he's corrupt. It's just clear he's not cognitively all there. I mean, during the campaign, I was one of the few covering. He couldn't remember Obama's name. He couldn't remember what cities he was in. It was very clear that as the day went on, if he spoke later in the day, he was having more trouble. And by the way, it doesn't necessarily mean something's blinking red lights wrong. Sometimes it's just a matter of age. People lose their steam cognitively and physically. So this isn't an attack on him or like wanting him health problems. It's just reality. And journalists should just report the truth. I'm not a doctor. I'm not like, I'm not diagnosing him on the internet. But it's just, look, just watch the campaign and now. It's very clear, very clear And that's why they are prepping Harris. They want to beef up her credentials. So they're throwing foreign policy in there and whatnot. Look who must be shrinking like a violet. So upset. Pete Buttigieg. I thought it was my turn. No, you're going to have to wait, Pete. They're trying to put Harris in. All right. Let me read some super chats, your comments, questions, or concerns. Did I miss anything? Was there any parts of the press conference that you thought stood out? To me, I barely heard anything about the fact. I don't think I have heard anything about the fact that Mississippi didn't have clean water for 2 months, and frankly, still right now, it's questionable whether their water is safe. I didn't hear anything about Amazon, union busting, threatening workers in Alabama. I didn't hear a question to him about what would it mean for the country if those Alabama workers were able to unionize. I certainly didn't hear anything asking Biden about what about Amazon, like basically discarding its workers' safety during this pandemic, which we broke a big story about that. Pashawn Brown, a 38-year-old Amazon worker in Virginia, suddenly died out of nowhere. What was she doing at Amazon? She was literally testing coworkers for COVID. Yes, a regular worker, no medical training, not a doctor, not a nurse, was literally administering COVID nasal swabs on other Amazon workers. And it wasn't just her. There were others doing this. And Amazon refused to answer my questions. They wanted to talk off the record. Yeah, I'm not talking to you off the record. Let me read some super chats. Keep it coming. Thank you for the GoFundMe donations. Keep those coming too. Okay. Cheryl Tyler, $10. How many questions holding him accountable about lying about the $15 minimum wage? I did not see one. It's a very, very good point, Cheryl. Or you also lied about $2,000 checks, but we don't need to pay attention to that. Moniker 12, $4.99. Did you guys fix your website to allow for monthly charges? I don't know what you mean to allow for monthly charges. We do have a membership where we have $5 a month membership, $10 a month membership, $20 a month membership, or $179 annually. So if you're having an issue paying, feel free to email us info@statuscoup.com. Thanks for the super chat too. You could email us info@statuscoup.com if you're having an issue. Brian Rice, $5. Appreciate it, Brian. GD Destiny, $5. Thanks for the text notifying me about the live chat. Love what you do. We'll follow you off YouTube if necessary. That's a great point, and thank you for the $5. Just so you guys know, we do send out text messages to alert you when we're live because YouTube either doesn't notify you or notifies you a half hour later or an hour later or just doesn't notify you. Having a text message list is wildly expensive. For any of you in marketing or any of that, the more you grow your text message list, the more expensive it is to send text messages out. It's a big scam, but it's helping because we need people to know when we're live. So join our text message list. Text CUOP to 370-370. That's text 370-370 COUP. I think I mangled it at first. What did Biden say? Text 30 blah blah blah. Text 370-370 and type in COUP. Got it? Great. Let me get to some others. Peter Iannone, $4.99. Smash that like. Appreciate it, Peter. And same Peter, I believe, that left, an incredible, I can't thank you enough, Peter. You don't know how much that $1,000 helps us right now. It is actually the difference between us having to cut in places and not. So thank you. I can't thank you. I will thank you off air, but thank you. Socially Democrat, $5. Supporting independent media. Can't thank you enough. Peter we already got to Peter. Leslie Lewis, $10. Thank you. And I think, that's Leslie Lewis, $100 in the GoFundMe. I think I read hers. Thank you. Thank you, Leslie. I really, really appreciate that. That's incredibly generous. Nathaniel Turner, $10. Thank you for all the content. So grateful for you. More grateful for you. Thank you. PH@ManTV, $5. Thank you. By the way, as all this is going on, welcome. Let me make sure I have your name right. welcome, new Status Coup member. Hold on. Richard, welcome. We are now at 1,755 Status Coup members. Welcome to the party, Richard. Be like Richard. Sign up. $5 a month. Statuscoup.com/join. That's statuscoup.com/join. Anybody else? Andy P, $5. Thank you, Andy. Philip Blair, $2. Biden needs to be asked on firing people over cannabis. Oh my God, I forgot about that. That is so true. Yeah, Biden, thinking he's living in 1970, his administration has fired multiple people. I think the numbers were dozens. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. Fired dozens of people because they had used cannabis in the past, which during the campaign, he said was a racial justice issue. You remember that? He said we need to decriminalize it. Yet, in his own administration, he's firing people for smoking weed. Yes, for smoking weed. It's unbelievable. Really is unbelievable. Let me see if I missed any others. They come very quick. All right. So, a couple other things. If you have any others, keep it coming. Couple public service announcements. Number one, I think we've told you that behind the scenes, because we're the only journalists in America left still covering the fact that Flint, Michigan does not have clean water 7 years later. I know that's kind of like not sexy to other channels or other national outlets. If you only knew the crazy answers we had got from NBC News, from other news networks on why they were passing on the reporting that we've uncovered, including the Detroit Free Press, including the Detroit News, including the Flint Journal, including NBC News, including the Daily Beast, including Newsweek, including Mother Jones. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. And we're going to be naming names and revealing pretty soon on Substack, because we are launching a Substack. We're going to be dropping the curtain, as they say, and exposing the news outlets that don't seem to care anymore, that A, an American city has not had clean water for 7 years, that B, 7 years later, there's not one person who is in jail for poisoning a city. There's not one person that has faced jury trial for poisoning a city. Nothing. 7 years. On April 25th, no justice. So we've been working on a story, and I'm just going to keep it real, folks. I try to under-promise and over-deliver. Let me repeat, I try to under-promise and over-deliver. But in this case, I think I could preview. We've uncovered something, well, more than something, quite a bit, that to me is equally as corrupt as Watergate. It won't be covered that way. It probably won't be covered based on the track record where we drop major bombshells on Flint and the media doesn't cover it. But what we've uncovered, to me, is more corrupt than Watergate. The reason Watergate is thought of as, the top of the corruption pyramid is because there's a president involved and because his voice was on tape. Other than those two things, Watergate, it was corrupt, but, I can think of things I've uncovered on the road that are equally as corrupt, but just didn't involve the president and didn't have his voice on tape. But what we've uncovered, and I don't want to say too much, is the Flint water cover-up. I don't know how else to put it. We have uncovered damning information about a multi-department state government cover-up of the Flint water crisis. And why I think this story is so important. And as of now, we think it's coming out next week. Don't hold me to it because we're publishing it for a different outlet. So it's on their timeline. But we think next week. Why this story is so important is I think when you read this story, you're going to realize this is much bigger than Flint, and this is much bigger than the state of Michigan. This story and what we've uncovered is America. This corruption that we've uncovered is the corruption and the rot of American government, federally and state level and locally. This story is so corrupt. And again, I don't want to say too much, but we have evidence that, let's just say, things were destroyed. Things were destroyed. So buckle up. And I'm asking all of you, we got almost 600 people watching. And I'm also, before the story comes out, we're going to be reaching out to people with large followings to say, hey, we're begging you, please help us get attention on this. The media doesn't care. I literally had an NBC News editor who I actually like this person. I'm not criticizing this person. But I had an NBC News editor explain to me last week why it is that NBC was passing on this particular story. And why is it that so many other outlets pass? And they literally told me, yeah, it was like a long time ago. And it's kind of like there's a lot of work that goes into these stories, but not as much payoff in terms of clicks and it going viral or people caring. And I was just blown away. I said, first of all, most of the time we go to these outlets handing them the story, literally handing them the story that we've already uncovered. But number two, I think a lot of these national news outlets kind of don't understand that actually there are a lot of clicks in actual journalism. There is a huge hunger and demand, and you show it every day through your super chats, GoFundMe, signing up as a member. There's a huge, huge demand for in the trenches, human interest, and investigative reporting. There's a huge hunger for it. We would not, with the resources we have, we would have never been able to even grow to this level, 1,755 members now, without a hunger for what we're doing. And honestly, it's not because I'm so special or Jen's so special. It's because we're one of the few actually that give a damn, that actually spend the money to go to Flint and other places and cover these things. Trust me, it would be a lot easier and probably more lucrative financially for us to never leave our studios, to sit here, to do clickbait and do hot takes all day, every day. It would be a lot more, it would be a lot easier. I probably have a lot less back problems because my back is acting up again. I just had to get another x-ray. But who wants to do that? What's the point of doing that? I'm not criticizing other YouTube channels that don't go out there and report, because there's plenty of room for everybody and commentary is great. But there's a huge hunger for this. So I'm asking all of you, I can't give you a date, but this story is coming out soon. I need every single one of you watching. I'm begging you at this point. When this story's out, I want you to call your local news outlets. I want you to email your local news outlets. I want you to call Detroit Free Press, Detroit News, Flint Journal. Call them, email them. NBC, ABC, CBS, New York Times, Washington Post, Daily Beast, all of them. Yes, I'm sorry, it's homework. I need every single one of you to scream and holler, social media, demanding that the national media cover what we're breaking. And I'm sorry that I can't tell you more, but it's pretty damn salacious, and it's pretty damn corrupt, and it's pretty damn significant. We need you. Unfortunately, in America, when you break major corruption on cities like Flint and governments like the Snyder administration, because this is about former Michigan Governor Rick Snyder's administration, unfortunately, on its own, they don't give a damn. I literally have been told by editors, is there a connection to Trump? I'm not making it up. I have literally been told by editors, is there a connection to Trump? And somebody asked a great question. Can you email us their contact data? I think before the story comes out, maybe we'll put together a list of emails, phone numbers, all that. So you don't have to do that. We'll put that together. Oh, by the way, even though we haven't officially launched our Substack, people are asking, we do have a Substack now. I don't know the address. Jen, if you could send it to me quickly, or Jen could put it in the super chat. You could go right now and sign up for our Substack. We haven't officially launched it with content, but we're working on it. we're working on the behind the scenes, what we're going to be putting up there, what free subscribers get, what free members get. So definitely, it's going to be, by the way, our Substack is going to be definitely different than everything else we do. It's going to be, I'd say 95% written content. It's going to be a significant amount of commentary. It's going to be a significant amount of kind of behind the scenes of what the true nature of the corporate media. So it's going to be a lot of written content, some reporting, a lot of commentary. So it's going to be awesome. I'm really excited about the Substack. For those of you that don't know, before I even did anything on camera, my passion was always writing. A long time ago, before I knew how corrupt this country was, I wanted to write for the New York Times. Don't have that ambition anymore. So yeah, Status Coup, statuscoup.substack.com, statuscoup.substack.com. Jen just put it in the super chat. So thank you. I am already 10 minutes late because we actually have a call that was supposed to happen 10 minutes ago with the people doing our website. We are also working on totally redoing our website. So there's a lot of things going on here at Status Coup. So definitely. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you to all the folks during a pandemic who are donating to GoFundMe. Thank you to all the folks that during a pandemic are dropping in money to the super chat. We do not take you for granted. We can't thank you enough for supporting us financially because honestly, we need it. We are a startup still. We didn't take $20 million from Jeffrey Katzenberg. We didn't take $20 from Jeffrey Katzenberg or any other Wall Street bankers, fossil fuckers, big pharma, big real estate, Silicon Valley, defense contractors, Hollywood executives who flood money to the Democratic Party. We didn't take their money. We're not going to take their money. And it's a lot harder to do it this way, but it's also a lot more righteous. So thank you for watching. I should be live tomorrow, Friday, and I appreciate you watching. By the way, again, let me show you just to make sure. I'm not convinced that YouTube, it makes a difference, but you never know. So when you go to YouTube, okay, when you go to YouTube, why is it not even showing me the subscribe button? Hold on. Okay. Well, there's supposed to be a button for subscribe. I don't know where it is. For some reason, it's not even showing. So that's another interesting thing. So, unbelievable. Yeah, I don't even see the subscribe button. So there's supposed to be a subscribe button somewhere. And under that subscribe button, there's supposed to be a bell that you click. So definitely. Let me see. Hold on. Yeah, I don't know why it's not showing up on my end. Maybe that's another YouTube special. But I don't even see the subscribe button on mine or the ability to click the bell. But if you notice where it says subscribed or you're a subscriber, there's a bell under it. Click on that bell and you should see all notifications or some or personalized. Click on all. I'm not convinced that even makes a major difference because YouTube's screwing us anyway, but at least make sure you have it set for all notifications. And then look back periodically because I've been told from viewers that I did click all, but I went back and it was unclicked. They took off the all notifications. Make sure you're still subscribed because I've had people messaging me that they're not subscribed anymore when they didn't unsubscribe. Yeah, so definitely. And also, please, every video you see, shorter videos, make sure you press the like button. Even if you don't like it or dislike me, just give us a like. Also, so you know, because YouTube isn't really notifying people, maybe make it kind of part of your daily routine. We typically start posting our shorter videos, not live streams, shorter videos. We typically start posting shorter videos around 10 in the morning, East Coast time. So that's 7 o'clock Pacific. And then we typically start posting other videos. Usually we post about 3 to 4 videos a day, maybe. Sometimes less, sometimes more. We usually start at 10 in the morning, East Coast, 7 a.m. Pacific, and then post, an hour or two later throughout the day. So unfortunately, because YouTube's not notifying people and they're not showing you the content, it would be helpful to us if you actually like you go to some websites, whether it's whatever websites you go to during the day, go to Status Coup's YouTube page to make sure you might not be seeing that we're uploading content and posting content. So sorry you have to do that, but YouTube's making it so you have to. Thank you for watching. Got to run to this phone call. Take care, everybody. Peace out.